that's the way it will be.
We find out if Kate's IVF was successful, and Kevin dives into Jack's past. So let's break down This Is Us Season 3, Episode 5 and find out just what happened. Rise and shine on, you lovely people. Lisa here, and it is This Is Us time. Now, I know I'm a little behind on some of my other show recaps, but those will be up this week. But you know, I couldn't miss out on This Is Us. So this week's episode is called Toby, but while we do go into Toby's past, there's so much going on in this episode with other storylines that I'm actually kind of curious why they named this episode Toby. Either way though, I did like getting to see a bit more of Toby's past, and for the Kate and Toby storyline, we do catch up to the flash forward we saw at the end of season 2, with Toby in bed and Kate telling him that they're going to see the doctor the next day to adjust his meds. So let's just go ahead and start this episode off with the Toby and Kate storyline, since it's called Toby. In the flashbacks for Toby, we see that turning on his fan and biting his nails are kind of like his safety blanket. His parents fought a lot, and we learn that his mom suffered from depression just like he does. And when his dad left, his dad told Toby that he had so much of his mom in him, referring to all that sad stuff. And he tells Toby to get a handle on it because it won't fly when he's grown. We then see Toby truly hit rock bottom after his wife Josie leaves, and his mom is the one who comes to see him. And she tells him that she used to be sad too. But you know what saved her, what pulled her out of that? It was young Toby and his impressions and his humor.
The joy in you is as much a part of you as this sadness. Do you hear me?
Now, just as Toby helped his mom laugh again, which is kind of one of the themes we do see in this episode a few times, his mom helps him get back up, and that's when we see Toby go to the doctor, get his meds, and meet Kate in support group. Now, in the present, Toby is still off his meds. He and Kate keep waiting for the doctor to call at different times and different days as they see their viable eggs go down from 8 to 3 to 1. Now they have to wait for another call from the doctor to see if that one egg works and Kate gets pregnant or not. So the two decide to just go about their day as a regular day. They go off to their jobs and agree to meet back at the apartment at 4 p.m. when the doctor's supposed to call. So Toby decides he's going to go to the pharmacy to try to talk the pharmacist into refilling his prescription for his medication, but she says she can't and he needs to call his doctor to do it properly. Toby does try to call the doctor but just gets the message machine, so he leaves a message. And then he heads to the arcade where he ends up getting lost in the game and rushes home late. When Kate goes to work, we see that she does singing telegrams. Or I should take that back. She does Adelegrams. Yes, that means she goes to places and sings Adele songs. So we see her go to an office and sing When We Were Young for someone's, I think, birthday.
In this light, in case it is the last time that we might be exactly like we were.
And one of the guys tells her when she's leaving that she is too talented to be doing these Adelegrams. She should be on The Voice or something. Nice crossover NBC plug there for The Voice. Now this guy was just trying to pay Kate a compliment, but then he kind of probably got more than he wanted, as Kate reveals more than he probably ever wanted to know. She tells this guy that when sad things happen to her, she shuts music out of her life. So a lot of sad things have happened to her life and she's nearly never been able to stick with this whole music thing. Now, since Kate is singing at the moment, this guy awkwardly tells Kate that he hopes things stay happy. And in Kate's flashbacks, we do see that after Jack died, she had a hard time doing music again. Miguel ended up seeing a piano at a yard sale and brought it over, and Rebecca was really happy about it, but Kate, not so much. She does, though, one night by herself sit down at this piano and start playing a little, but she can't bring herself to keep doing it and she stops. That's when Rebecca sits down next to her and explains how she, in her own life, put aside music a lot of times out of fear, sadness, and for other reasons. But over time, she realized that music became a place where she could just pour out her feelings and thoughts. And while Kate might not be ready now to sit down and play music again or sing, she knows that one day Kate will sit at that piano and sing again, because it's a place where Kate can put all her sadness, and it's what Kate is meant to do. And I think this was one of my favorite parts in this episode. We know that Kate and Rebecca have always had this rocky relationship, but seeing Rebecca tell Kate that music is what she was meant to do, I thought was just such a sweet moment. So in the present, we see Kate sitting down at the piano and she's playing a song and singing, and honestly, it kind of sounds sad, so we don't know whether her playing and singing this song is out of happiness or out of sadness. It's kind of like, okay, What twist are we going to get here? Which way is this going to go? Toby then arrives home, apologetic for being so late, and it turns out he has missed the doctor's phone call, but she ended up ringing with, not bad news, good news. Yes, it seems like the IVF worked and Kate is pregnant. And then this happy moment, unfortunately, quickly takes a turn for the worse as we finally see Toby break down. Like, it's kind of like, okay, this worked, all that pressure is lifted off of him, and he just lets it go while he keeps saying that he's sorry. And Kate ends up learning about him being off his meds and calls the doctor, and that's when we see that little flash forward part where she tells him that he's going to go in the next day to get his meds adjusted. And in this scene, just like the flashbacks when we saw young Toby sad with the fan and being bundled up in his bed, that's how we see Toby in the present. So while it seems like this is kind of a sad moment, which it definitely is, I feel like things are also kind of taking a turn for these two towards the positive side in a way. Kate is finally pregnant. If Toby goes to the doctor like he's supposed to, then hopefully he'll get back his meds and things will be worked out. But if it doesn't, either way, I think this will open some kind of line of communication between Toby and Kate to be honest with each other finally, especially about his mental health. So fingers crossed it goes well, because I would honestly like to hear Kate sing more happy songs than sad songs. For Randall and Beth, they both have big days ahead of them. Beth has a job interview and Randall is having his first meet and greet to campaign for councilman. One piece of advice Beth gives to Randall is to not get too emotional and cry when he's giving his speech to the people. Now, if I experienced what Randall did at his first meet and greet in this episode, I think I might have cried, but surprisingly, Randall held it together. So this meet and greet is held at a barbecue place, and a lot of people come in mainly for the free barbecue. None of them want to hear what Randall has to say. They basically feel like Randall does not belong there, and Councilman Brown, he is their friend. They're kind of loyal to him. But Randall just can't seem to wrap his head around this and understand why these people are so loyal to Councilman Brown when things aren't getting fixed and people are getting hurt just walking home. He does end up losing the crowd, and the owner of the barbecue joint, Albert, explains to Randall how Councilman Brown helped him save his barbecue joint from a new landlord many years ago that tried to raise the rent way too high and run him out of business. Then Albert tells Randall that he just doesn't belong here and that they don't feel like they owe Councilman Brown their loyalty. The people here feel like they owe him their lives. That's how deep this relationship goes. So Randall is now determined to find a different way to connect with everyone. Now, when he does ask Beth finally how her job interview went, she says she was a boss and is just waiting for an offer. And she does tell Randall that she's proud of him for at least not crying in his meet and greet. We then see Beth go to her car and her expression changes. And we see that while Randall didn't break down and get emotional in his speech, she is the one who didn't take that advice and got super emotional and broke down in the middle of her job interview when her old job was brought up, which means she might have just lost that new job. So yeah, that whole thing is still a fresh wound, as we basically hear that she helped start that company that she was let go from. So maybe that's what's going on, or maybe it's a culmination of other things that Beth just hasn't opened up about. I'm honestly excited to learn about Beth, and I love that we've seen through the first 2 seasons so far of the show, Beth and Toby kind of be those confident, strong characters who just seem to have all their shit together, you know? And they're funny and they use their humor to, you know, make people feel better. But in this episode, we see both of those characters have these truly kind of break down, vulnerable moments where they show off this other side, that they are human. And while they may not be able to really talk about it publicly with their significant others yet, they're getting there, and we're seeing it as an audience. And that's really filling out the dimensions of these two characters. And I love that, and I hope that it continues, and I really do want to see more of Beth's backstory too. But I think that these two really deliver 2 of the best performances of, you know, their time on the show so far. And I'm excited to learn more about these two and this kind of dark patch or rough patch in their, you know, journey. Lastly, we have Kevin and Zoe, who are on their way to go meet Donnie Robinson, the soldier we saw in the Vietnam episode, the last episode, who had his leg blown off and Jack saved him, and he also taught Jack the Just Breathe technique. Now, while Kevin learns from Donnie that Jack wasn't a mechanic and was actually a staff sergeant and squad leader who saved his life, Zoe has her own storyline in this episode, which actually syncs up to what we see young Randall going through in the flashbacks, which deals with interracial dating and racism. So in that flashback storyline, we see that it's prom night and Randall, Kevin, and Sophie are going over to Allison's house to take pictures. And this is going to be the first time Randall will be meeting Allison's family, and he's kind of nervous about it. When he gets there, Allison's mom seems super nice and even asks for a hug, but when Allison's dad walks out with the camera to try to take pictures, he says that he can't do it. You can see that he's trying, but ultimately he has to walk away because it seems like he just cannot accept the fact that his daughter is dating an African-American man. Now in the present, we have Kevin and Zoe driving up to see Donnie and still differing on how they're going to define this relationship and introduce each other. And on their car ride, Zoe does mention how she forgot her silk pillowcase. Now Kevin thinks it's just because Zoe is fancy, and then you can see that Zoe starts to want to explain why she actually needs that pillowcase, which is for her hair, but then she decides not to and just lets it go. When they stop at a gas station for snacks, Kevin is paying and Zoe comes up to the counter, and the cashier is very cold to Zoe until Kevin says that they're together. Now while Kevin doesn't pick up on any of these little things, you can bet Zoe does. As Kevin and Donnie then talk about Jack, Zoe chats with Donnie's wife, who thinks that the two make such a cute couple. And then Zoe opens up about how Kevin is the first white man she's really dated and thought about dating seriously, but that Kevin didn't pick up on why she needed that pillowcase for her hair, and he didn't pick up on the racist cashier at the gas station. So she doesn't know if she wants to spend all of her time in a relationship with Kevin, having to explain to him what it's like to be black. Donnie's wife can see how good Kevin and Zoe are together though, and she tells Zoe that she needs to decide for herself what she can handle and if Kevin is actually worth it. Now back in the conversation about Jack, Donnie tells Kevin that he tried writing Jack a few times but never heard back, and he doesn't know much about Jack's brother, and that this war is really dark for a lot of the vets, and sometimes, you know, you're better off not having the answers to the questions that you want. When Kevin and Zoe return to the hotel, a silk pillowcase is delivered to their room, and Kevin says that it sounded like the pillowcase was really important to Zoe, so he went and got her the best one that he could find on such short notice. Now this gesture ends up winning Zoe over, and she sits down and explains to him why she needed that pillowcase and about how the cashier was acting at the gas station. And when Kevin asks why she didn't bring the stuff up earlier and why she's bringing it up now, she says because she thinks he might be worth it. So we're getting another character in this episode finally starting to let some walls down and be vulnerable. Now I liked Zoe in the wedding episode. I thought she was, you know, strong and sassy and had that same feel that like I like Beth for. But then when we saw her with Kevin and this relationship progressing, I wasn't so sure if she was actually good for him or not, especially with Beth's warning. But now with this, you know, finally hearing about why she's so hesitant and her struggles, she's starting to tip the scale towards the good side now. So let's hope that this relationship continues to kind of go in the up way. And before I get to the tiny cliffhanger at the end, we got to go back to a little part in the flashbacks that wasn't, I feel like, a huge part of the episode, but also kind of was important if you think about it. So in the flashbacks, we saw Miguel around the house a lot after Jack's death, bringing the family a piano, fixing the fridge, even trying to give Randall advice when he returned home about how Miguel was also the victim of racism when he moved to the States from Puerto Rico when he was young. And we also do see Sophie drop a drunk Kevin off after the prom at Miguel's place. So is Miguel doing all this because, you know, this is when he's going after Rebecca, he's trying to impress her and flirt with her, or is there another reason? Well, we see in a little bit more of a flashback that Jack was filling out a life insurance policy when Miguel was with him, and Miguel joked, telling Jack he didn't need that because he's Jack and Jack doesn't die. Ugh, and then we get this.
I get hit by a bus. You look out for him, right?
So yeah, don't worry, Miguel haters. You don't have a reason to hate Miguel for this. We already know Miguel and Rebecca started dating way later when they had the old people makeup on and they reconnected on Facebook. So while in this flashback it seems like Miguel was trying to take Jack's place, he was and wasn't in a way. He wasn't doing it to try to, you know, be romantically involved with Rebecca and take over the family. He made a promise to Jack that he would take care of his family. So yes guys, Miguel isn't that bad. You gotta give him a bit of a break. I don't think he's really given us a reason to hate him too much, especially since we know that it took a long time for these two to even get together. But with that, we finally end the episode with Donnie waiting for Kevin and Zoe in the lobby of their hotel and saying that he thought about it and maybe Jack would want Kevin to know more of his story. So he hands Kevin some letters, and those letters also include some pictures. And a picture that he pulls out has Jack with a Vietnamese lady. And Kevin notices that lady is wearing the same necklace he is, the one that Jack gave him. So this is the same lady we actually saw in the last episode, the Vietnam episode, who had a son, or at least it looked like her son, who was trying to give Jack and his commander the fish that she ended up, telling the little boy not to. So, just like Rebecca had a mystery man for a few episodes, Jack now has a mystery woman. But this picture, it doesn't really look romantic, but we know this lady must have had a great impact on Jack's life if he ended up with her necklace. So was this woman just an ally, a friend of Jack's that ended up maybe as another casualty and Jack took the necklace as a reminder? Or was it something romantic and when they parted ways she gave Jack the necklace? Or is it something completely different? I guess we're gonna have to wait to find out and see, and possibly maybe that happens in the next episode. I don't know, so let's take a look at the promo and find out.
Dad gave me her necklace. That means something.
But Vietnam, that was a chapter in his life he didn't want us to know about.
This is the moment.
I don't know if I should be pushing him or let him take his time.
Hidden truths will come to light.
For the past few weeks, I've been pretending that I'm fine.
Shut up, shut up, shut up!
I'm not fine.
Okay, so in this promo, we see Kate trying to figure out just how to help Toby. She doesn't know whether to give him space or push him a little bit because he's still pretty depressed in his bed. We also have Beth finally what seems like hitting that real breaking point and snapping at her kids, but also looks like she's going to tell Randall what's going on with her. And it also, the voiceover says, hidden truths will be revealed. So what exactly are those going to be? Are those going to be Jack's hidden truths, Beth's hidden truths, Toby's hidden truths? Whose hidden truths? Either way, I like hidden truths. So, yeah, as an episode as a whole, like I said, it was good, but I still don't get why they called it just, Toby when so many other people had, significant kind of storylines in this episode. But I am really happy for Kate and Toby that this whole IVF thing worked. I hope that nothing happens to this baby now. They've already suffered kind of one miscarriage. I don't know if they can handle another one, and I really hope that Toby gets out of his funk, but I think it is great that, his storyline is bringing up to talk about mental health, so we'll see how that goes. And I'm still over here kind of chuckling about the Adelagrams. I think that was just hilarious. But now it is your turn to weigh in on what you thought about this episode down in the comments. If Kate came to sing an Adelagram to you, what Adele song would you want her to sing? I know that's not an important question. So let me know what you thought about the woman in the picture. Who do you think she is? How does she connect with Jack? Romantic, not romantic? What do you think Beth's been hiding? What are these hidden truths we are going to see? Sound off down in the comments below with all your thoughts and theories, and then you can check out more of my recaps and interviews right over here. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button because I'm here every week talking about This Is Us. I'm Lisa. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you again soon.